Hearty welcome to all the participants for the 5th day Professional Development Program on Recent Trends in Commerce, organized by the Institute of Cost Accountants of India and Srimad Andavan Arts and Science College, Tiruchirappalli, affiliated to the Bharadas University, and Dwaraka Goverdhan Vaishnav College, affiliated to the University of Madras. We have been hearing from the experts on operational excellence, the new labor codes, and today we have two expert speakers who are persons of eminence in the ERP area. The enterprise resource planning, which is we have been teaching to the students in the theoretical format, will be able to experience with their practical exposure and the knowledge. Let us begin our day's program with the invocation, the institute anthem and the college prayers.
Srimad Andavan Padukankam Kshetra Pavitrodjvala Parijatam Yatra Manava Sarve Sanmargadashitaha Nityam Patanti Te Vijnana Kalabhashaha Paratirikta Vishepi Pravrittaste Sushila Gunavapi Anucharanti Nityam सर्वत्र सर्वदा प्रेरकप्रभावैः पोषति वने स्थापित प्रयोगशालासु सम्यक् प्रकाशयन्ति ते स्वप्रभावम् अत्रैवाधीतयन्त्रविद्यासु निपुणास्ते विदेशे उज्ज्वालयन्ति
सत्यव्रतं सत्यपरं त्रिसत्यं सत्यस्य योनिं निहितं च सत्ये सत्यस्य सत्यं ऋतसत्यनेत्रं सत्यात्मकं त्वां शरणं प्रपन्नाः वाणी गुणानुकथने श्रवणो कथायां हस्तौ च कर्मसु मनस्तव पादयोर्नः स्मृत्यां शिरस्तव निवास जगत्प्रणामे सृष्टिस्ततां दर्शनेस्तु भवत्तनूनाम् नमो भगवते तस्मै कृष्णायाद्भुतकर्मणे रूपनामविधेयतेन जगत्क्रीडति यो यतः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.
It was a great blessing indeed. May I now request Dr. Pratibha George, Assistant Professor and Senior Faculty Member, PG and Research Department of Commerce, Dwaraka Goverdhan Vaishnav College, to welcome the August gathering. Yes, ma'am. Pratibha George, ma'am. Ma'am, you are not audible, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's fine now.
Professional Development Program on Recent Trends in Commerce, jointly organized by the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, Dwaraka Goverdhan Vaishnav College, affiliated with the University of Madras, Chennai, and Srimad Andavan Arts and Science College, affiliated to Bharathidasan University, Tiruchirappalli. I take delight in welcoming the keynote speaker for the day, CMA Ashwin Kumar G. Dalwadi, Council Member, the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, Chairman, Information Technology Committee. We welcome you, sir. I also welcome the Chief Guest and Speaker for the day, Sri Ram Gopal Suryanarayanan, ERP Consultant and Trainer, Bengaluru, who will be briefing us on ERP for business decisions. We welcome you, sir. With immense pleasure, I also wish to welcome all the academicians, educational administrators, industry representatives, professionals from the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, students, research scholars, members of the industry associations, and representatives from Chamber of Commerce who are present with us virtually. I once again extend my wholehearted welcome to one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your warm introduction. On a Sunday, these people have joined hands together for the knowledge enrichment. So what a pleasant day it is. Thottanithoorum manarkeni maandarku kattanithu oorum arivu. What Thiruvalluvar has said has become true today. So it is just gearing the peer for the knowledge upgradation. I now request Dr. J. Arulmani, Assistant Professor, PG and Research Department of Commerce, Srimad Andavan Arts and Science College, to introduce our eminent keynote speaker and resource persons to the august audience.
Good afternoon to all. It gives me an immense pleasure to introduce keynote speaker Mr. CMA Ashwin Kumar G. Dalwadi, Council Member, Institute of Cost Accounts of India. He also is a Chairman of Information Technology Committee. Sir has completed BSc FCMA. He is a Senior Partner of Messrs. Dalwadi Associates, Cost Accounts, also having a brilliant academic background and a rich experience in the field of cost accountancy and general management. From 1977 onwards, he was associated in costing profession. CMA Ashwin Kumar G. Dalwadi is elected to the Central Council of Institute of Cost of Accountants of India for the term 2019 to 23 and serving as a Chairman of Information Technology Committee and Management Accounting Committee in addition to other committees of the Institute. He has been nominated as a member of Confederation of Asian and Pacific Accountants. He had also served the Institute during the year 2007 to 11 at the Central Council and had held the position of Chairman Cost Accountancy Assurance Standard Board and the Chairman of Continuing Education Program Committee of ICWAI. He He was also elected as a regional council member of Western Indian Regional Council of Institute of Cost Accountancy India for 2 consecutive terms, 2002 to 4 and 2004 to 7, and was a chairman of Western India Regional Council of Institute of Cost Works Accounts of India for the year 2003 to 4. He is also involved with various activities of institutions like Indian Drug Manufacturer Association, Gujarat, Gujarat State Small Industries Federation, Confederation of Indian Industry, Gujarat, etc. In recent, he was nominated for a consultative committee of GSTN. Next, I would like to introduce our resource person, Sri Ram Gopal Suryanarayanan, ERP consultant and a trainer, Bangalore. He has finished a master's in industrial biotechnology from Shastra University and also a business consultant of industrial experience in SAP implementation, business process transformation, system mapping. His work area are material management, supply chain management, production planning and inventory management. He has a trained fresher batches in IBM. Sir has also got a onshore exposure in Brazil and Middle East. He has got a software knowledge on SAP ECC, SAP S4HANA, APO, Ariba, ERP Next. He worked in IBM and Bosch and also had a market leader clients like Shell, British Petroleum, Applied Materials, British American Tobacco and Etihad Airways, and his field of interest are next generation technology including data science and blockchain, open source technology, professional finance. And SAR has got certificates in SAP S4HANA, sourcing and procurement, CFA Institute Investment Foundation. We welcome you, sir. Thank you for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, Arulmani sir, for your introduction of the guest. It is a special day normally where we recognize or where we pay homage to one of our stalwarts. The stalwart for the day is Sri K. Sundaraganapati Iyer, who served the profession from 1946 onwards. He served this profession, and I have a special pride in introducing Sri K. Sundaraganapati Iyer. I'll just share it, the reason at the last. The speciality of Sri Sundaraganapati Iyer, he was a pioneer in writing the report in the vernacular language. That is, audit reports were written in Tamil only by him. He was a pioneer. He was the one who started it in the Hindu Religious and Charitable Endowments Department. After writing the reports in Tamil by K. Sundaraganapati Iyer, the C&AG and the government of Tamil Nadu completely implemented the report writing in Tamil. He was the one who introduced the punch card system for the employees at certain places in the 1960s, and he has trained more than 2,000 people for the department accountancy examination, the government of Tamil Nadu. He was a part of the Auditor Society when the Chartered Accountants Act in 1949 was passed. He was a part of the Auditor Society, and he was holding the Part B certificate with the folded hands and the heads bowed down. We dedicate this ERP for Business Decisions lecture to Sri K. Sundaraganapati Iyer. And the pride what I hold in introducing Sundaraganapati Iyer is in the capacity of being his grandson, the only one grandson. I take immense pride on that. It's now time for the expert lecture series. I now request CMA Ashwin D. G. Dalwadi to deliver his keynote speech.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Very good afternoon, sir.
Very good afternoon. Dr. Pradeepa George, Dr. J. Arulmanai Mani, Sri Ram Gopal Suryanarayana, CMA Rakesh Shankar Ravi Shankarji, academicians, industry representatives and participants. I am indeed delighted to be with you on this 5th day of 14th 14-day professional development program on recent trends in commerce, jointly organized by the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, Srimad Andavan Arts and Science College, and Dwaraka Goverdhan Vaishnav College. This is an interesting and manwork task, I must appreciate. Task undertaken by the three institutions. The program is envisaging about 15 different topics of current interest, and I congratulate the organizing committee and institutions involved in this event. I was excited to know about one of the topics chosen by the team, that is Re-Energizing the curriculum for commerce and business studies. It has made me nostalgic. In March 2007, I was one of the speakers at a conference organized by Talod Arts and Commerce College at Gujarat. I spoke that after a decade, it was interesting, after a decade or so, commerce colleges at the rural level will face the music in getting students. The reasons I cited were evolution of computing power and increased connectivity with the cities. Because of the easy availability of robust accounting software, demand for bookkeepers have gone down, and because of good connectivity and other facilities, students prefer to go to the big cities. This has led to vacant seats in colleges located at remote areas. See, by now, accounting has been taken over by the computers, and bookkeepers have gone. Hence, the periodic curriculum, because we are living in a fast-changing era, hence the curriculum updating has become imperative, and this feature I have seen in this program. So congratulations to the team. Let me take you to the today's topic, ERP Enterprise. Let me take you to today's topic, ERP Enterprise Resource Planning. And to begin with, let me share with you the journey of ERP so far. Friends, the rise and development of ERP started in 1960s with inventory control programs on a mainframe computers. In 1970s, with the help of mid-range computing facilities, MRP1, that is Material Requirement Planning, came into vogue. Please note that this MRP1 was Material Requirement Planning and not the Enterprise Resource Planning. In 1980s, with client-server computing manufacturing resource facilities available, MRP2 came into force. In 1990s, with help of internet computing on premises at on-site or on-premises enterprise resource planning, ERP1 came, and this was an extensive customization of business processes. In 2000s, with the help of service-oriented architecture, ERP1 Plus, which extended with the supply chain expense management, came, but it was costlier and making larger implementation only. So in 2010s, cloud mobiles, social and analytics came into forefront, and ERP 2.0 split off functions such as human capital management and these offers infrastructure for cloud and solution to coexist. Digital technologies fundamentally change how users engage the applications. This is the scenario so far. Friends, ERP or Enterprise Resource Planning programs are comprehensive systems that optimize the core business processes. They allow you to make use of integrated applications that can collect, store, manage, and analyze the data according to the requirements of your company or your enterprise. Whether you want to keep the track of business resources, monitor the status of your business commitments, or review employees' information, ERP programs can provide you with the tool needed to automate, accelerate, and improve these tasks. These also have capabilities that support variety of other business functions. Next generation ERP is more than just software. It combines industry best practices, a flexible platform, and an adaptive user experience UX with advanced technology capabilities to engage and enable digital transformation. What are the benefits? ERP software solutions are created to integrate all tools necessary for managing the business, external and internal operations. Without it, executives and business owners will have to rely on multiple programs for different processes, making data migration and analysis too complex and time consuming. So business decisions are may be affected. The benefits of ERP software are centered around the fact that it serves as a control tower for different business processes. For example, it can create a single repository for information, reduce operational costs, and pave the way for accurate reporting. It can also help streamline the business processes because it offers standardized way of operations. It provides increased productivity and efficiency, reduced operational costs, faster and more accurate reporting, integrated information repository, flexible business operations, reinforced data security, and simplified regulatory compliances. Now, let us understand who needs the ERP solution. Nowadays, paradigms are changing. Now, look at the technology. Technology has transformed how we live and work. Simple example is work from home and today's program. Though we are sitting across, I would say, different locations of India or even abroad, it could be abroad also. But we are able to gather on a platform with the help of technology. Of course, Corona has sponsored the speed of technology and acceptance. Another point is demographic shifts have reshaped this society and workforce because of technological support, and now people have started thinking about staying in a small towns instead of moving to the cities. Another point is customer expectations, which is very important. Customers' expectations have dramatically increased, expecting everything faster, better, more differentiated and personalized than before. Company may offer some product with customization to suit the local market. For example, long back, I'll give you one example which I had experienced with my clients. Long back, an edible oil company had decided to offer Vanaspati oil in collaboration with one of the largest internationally acclaimed edible oil refiner and suppliers. The product specifications were of international standards. Targets were very high. Pan-India market was flooded with the product, but response was found very poor in certain states. Reasons were interesting. In one state, people were using yellowish vanaspati. We call it ghee, no?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, we call it the dalda.
Yeah. In another state, the preference was for whitish look. In another state or region, the people people were preferring the said vanaspati in a liquid form, whereas in certain areas preference was for semi-liquid or semi-solid form. You will appreciate that the expenses involved in branding are very huge, and so the company decided to offer different varieties under the same brand with some special dots on the product, which could happen with the help of technology and the storage, stock data, etc. Was possible due to ERP. Otherwise, we found at that juncture, it is not going to happen in a near future at that point of time. Now, another point is globalization. This has changed the rule across all markets. If company wants to have a tie-up with any foreign company, the collaborator will always expect a good ERP as it offers a relief. This good ERP offers a relief as far as validation, due diligence and processes and audit trails are concerned. Last, major point is Atmanirbharta. You may surprise why this has reference with ERPs and other things. Because your ERP should be flexible enough to meet with all these kind of challenges. There are rising tide of nationalism and retreat of globalization. For example, Atmanirbhar, Brexit, US's decision to preference for reservation of raw materials for vaccines only for USA first. And corporate responsibility, last point is now in the forefront and in the center, in the fundamental purpose of the organization. Thus, company has to, if the company has a big dream to offer its product or services to a big market, global markets, and wants to be a good corporate citizen, it has become imperative to have good ERP system. Now look at the ERP challenges. Changing landscape of business. So, all are living in a challenging, ever-changing area, fast-changing era. World is changing very fast. We are living in a vulnerable, uncertain, complex and ambiguous world. World. Now we often see how it is. No, we as accountants we often see that many companies are, in the case of many companies, cashless profits, less turnover, and soaring valuations. I hope you understand what I mean to say. To become competitive effectively in today's market, companies need to have to be competitive simultaneously on price, quality, delivery, responsiveness, flexibility, innovation, and consistently create value. This needs to maintain, once again, in addition to that, this needs to maintain continuously. Perhaps you may be feeling that these are the points for managing the business. Are they concerned with ERP? No. We need to understand all this in mind while choosing the right ERP. Your ERP can provide you the analysis of transactions occurred so far, but not the future transactions. You will have to use other tools which can be integrated with ERP. At present, for some of the businesses which run on 100% ERP, before you start the business, you need ERP solution first. For example, market aggregators like Amazon, Uber, Zomato, on telecom companies like Jio, Airtel and other companies, so on and so forth. For them, use of AI has also become compulsory to evaluate their earning models. There are various challenges seen in ERP systems that might force the organizations towards switching it. The general problem with the ERP happens when you do not choose the right software for your organization. This ultimately leads you toward the improper planning, high cost, difficulties in functionalities. Make sure that you check the below statistic, because this is interesting statistic I would like to share with you with reference to ERP system. 50% of the ERP implementations fail at the first time around. I hope you will agree with me, those who have got experiences. On average, ERP implementation takes 30% more time than the estimated. Now 51 to 54% companies experience the operational disruptions when they go live. Top three problems faced by the users with the ERP systems are user experience (UX), data accuracy, and analytics. So 40 to 44% organizations say that their ERP is inflexible and exploring options for extending it with the new systems. 92% of the current ERP system represents a bottleneck for CIOs, often requiring manual or programmatic interventions to enable the data sharing. Just 4% of the ERP support omni-channel and modern UI natively, that is online sales and offline sales through different channels. So, these points are very important while you are going to choose for the ERP. Testing and other related processes can shoot up ERP projects budget to 50% or more when they were what was allotted. Only 4% of the ERP are aligned with the cloud and provide modernization initiatives. According to Accenture CIO survey, 40% of the CIOs surveyed do not find it easy to access, analyze, or even enterprise and customer data for better decision making. I would share with you few of my examples based on my experience with the companies where ERPs were introduced. See, unless and until you take your employees to confidence and make them believe that it is for them to help them only, it becomes a toy for the top management that they can buy the good ERP, but at the bottom level, the implementation I have found zero. Friends, ERP, a good ERP is not just another software. ERP solutions are the key to handle all your business processes and help your team members to land on the same page. Transformation from old legacy systems to cloud-based applications are making business processing simpler, super productive. Now with this statistic, you know the benefit and drawbacks of ERP system and make the right, I'm sure it will make and help you to choose the right ERP. At this juncture, let me share you, throw one question to you. What is the size difference in a front view glass versus back view mirror in any vehicle? I am sure you will agree with me that front view glass is many times larger than the back view mirror. Why? We need better and wider view of front to move ahead with this speed. Quite well, I am not undermining the importance of back view mirror. I am suggesting this because I have experienced that when ERP vendors are coming to the prospective buyers, so they show a lot of screens, lot of analytics and information, which is always from a vacuum mirror. So I'll highlighting one point here, over here is that fine, you need vacuum mirror, but your front view mirror should be very large under this scenario, the current scenario. Correct? This is like a smartphone. How many of us are using all features of a smartphone? Friends, so define your current needs and your future needs and your budget, your environment, including your employees, for going for ERP. Important aspects in choosing the ERP, I would suggest there are 5 basic aspects, which are: 1. Your ERP selection should deliver the platform, scalability and flexibility. Select the ERP support for mobile users or current environment. It could be work from home situation also. Customer recommendations for testimonials are must to be checked before going for identifying a particular ERP. Ease of use and contextualization is already important, and look at your long-term cost. And while implementing the ERP software, I would request and I would advise that you have to look at users of the shelf packages, business intelligence, and sign up, particularly if possible, sign up for a trial and benchmarks. See, these ERP solutions are ever emerging. Every day something new is coming, and let me share with you about few lines about the current trends in ERP. Advanced ERP systems are making themselves simpler for users. But at the same time, they are upgrading their technologies to provide more accurate data and customizable features for different sectors. So this is sector specific. Current trends also move towards the cloud as against on-premises or on-site ERPs, because upfront hardware cost is almost nil in case of cloud, and further ever increasing technology risk and risk of obsolescence is also high. Security and maintenance is taken care by cloud service providers. In case of unintegrated on-premises systems, growth in disconnected systems and enterprise data give conflicting answers to key questions. Further, international expansion, mergers and acquisitions, and core market growth have hampered. It often is also hampered by on-premises ERPs. See, at the end, I would like to share with you that in the beginning of my address, I said that I was delighted to see the topic Re-Energizing curriculum for commerce and business studies. Looking to the current environment, perhaps after the session of Sri Ram Gopalji, you are likely to be tempted to include ERP as a part of your syllabus. I tell you, while including the ERP as a part of curriculum, please do understand that ERP covers many facets of enterprise activities and processes. You can't impart knowledge of all such processes and activities at an expert level. There are a lot of complexities and ever-changing realities in business world. Even two entities having same or similar businesses having totally different business processes and their own benchmarking. However, you can make a student ready to become an expert by providing some hand-holding training so that when he goes for the job or business, he is at least ready to start for this. Let me give you an example. If you are taking an interview of any person and you go through a resume of prospective persons might have mentioned that he loves cricket and he plays cricket. Ask him at which level you have played the cricket, gully, school, college, state, national or international level. So this is the scenario that ERP also, some person may say that I know ERP, but you have to confirm that he knows the ERP facets of what you are expecting and what you have got in your mind. Next question to this person could be, are you a batsman, bowler or an all-rounder? The institution has to decide about the quantity of student level of training to be imparted and so on and so forth. It has to decide whether it is going to intake only students who have having a professional knowledge of a given domain, and he or she is to go for linking the professional skill with ERPs as add-on with his domain knowledge. If this is kept in mind, I am sure the courses ready. Galore market is ready. In short, I have tried to explain ERP syllabus may not be divided into two parts. May be divided into two parts. Basic understanding and specific module linked with the specialization chosen by the student for his or her study as a part of graduation or his or her professional degree or diploma. Thank you. Thank you for offering me an opportunity to be with you and for your present patience listening. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ashwin Dalwadi sir. Your points with regard to the importance and implications of ERP and also the integrating into the curriculum, it has played a very vital role because when Ram Gopal sir was discussing with me, just give me a moment.
Ram Gopalji, your mic is producing some noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When Ram Gopalji was discussing with me, what happened was, he was giving a certificate in ERP syllabus. So when I just went through the two parts, what you said, one is the general overview on the module application. Now I was able to correlate what you said and the syllabus, what he showed me on the ERP. So which means we are on the right path. So after hearing to the keynote address under the basic understanding from the history and origin of the ERP, now it's time to listen to our expert speaker and the resource person for the day on the practical aspects of ERP. Over to Sri Ram Gopal Surinarayanan for his expert lecture.
Is my mic sending out a lot of noise or is
No,
it
it's fine now. It's fine now.
nice, great. Thank you so much, Sri Ashwinji. It is you have given a comprehended speech which is condensed, and every time we listen to it, we understand. The students will understand more new things, and after a couple of months of work or a couple of months of studying, when they come back and listen to it again, they get new meaning to it. So it's really a condensed speech which was useful. I am sure which would be useful for students. Now coming back to please, Mr. Hari, please go ahead.
Yeah, no.
First of all, sir, am I audible to everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Please go ahead.
Actually, fantastic. Actually, thank you, sir. The way you have explained about ERP, we pretty well know about the ERP. I mean, the ERP is not only the software, but it is a functionality which integrates all the functional areas of our management. That is okay. But when you go for functional areas, it is very tough to integrate all the departments. It calls cost, as I said, integrating all the functional departments requires training as well as technology, and also it need apart from the training, we need to psychological connection and behaviors of the traditional people as well as the modern people. That all okay, sir. And this cost is okay. And when you go for Corona now, post-pandemic, it is posing so much of challenges, right? And when we go for profit, actually the businessman has to decide whether we go for maximizing the profit. When the maximizing profit is no choice, no, we'll go for minimizing the cost. So when I go for minimizing the cost, no, I should minimize the cost. And also when I implement ERP also minimize my cost. It reduces the idle time, it reduces the cycle time, it reduces the lead time, everything is fantastic. What is your suggestion, sir? Do we need to go for implementing ERP and reducing the cost, or not implementing ERP right now, post pandemic situation? Am I making myself?
See, my opinion is because we have to go case by case. Because, for example, there are certain industries where the ERP is first. You have to have a first before and you start the business. As I explained, the aggregator business. Secondly, you are referring to the profit increment or cost reduction. But nowadays, you see, you have to use ERP because it's a tool. Correct? How you are going to use it is a different thing. But look at I refer to three things. No, there are now companies having profits soaring, but not cash profits. Okay. And another area is the turnover is going up, but no profits. Third area is that valuation is increasing, like anything. So there are set of certain aspects which we have to look into it and decide about it. Because see, if you want to go to foreign country, you should have to travel by the airplane only. You cannot travel if you want to travel by a bus or car or a ship. It may not be right thing right now at the current era. Correct? Because if you go by ship also, it could be costlier. So this is the situation. So the using of ERP or moving toward ERP under current era, I think it should be looked into with the case-to-case basis, not in isolation of certain set of questions on this side.
Excellent, sir. I understood, sir.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Ram Gopal sir, you can just continue with your presentation.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So now before going in, first I think people who are in Google Meet, they are able to listen to my audio. But I think there is one student who mentioned that audio is very feeble in the YouTube chat. Can somebody who's listening from YouTube can say that if my audio is okay or?
Yes, sir. It is fine in the YouTube, sir. I'm parallelly checking it.
Okay,
Maybe,
all right,
yeah,
all right.
it's
That's
fine.
really great. Yeah, thank you so much. So now let's go to the presentation. I know it's Sunday afternoon. I'll not bore you with a lot of time. We'll try to keep it as interactive as possible, and people who have joined, especially even the professors and the other teaching and non-teaching staff, administrative staff, please be more interactive. If you have any queries in the middle also, it is okay to stop me. Okay. Now, yeah. So this is the survey which we have pinged in the YouTube. So this is the one which is corresponding to that. So you need to see this picture and then mention which line is longer. But still, I really appreciate 37 people who have responded to it already, whose accountability and diligence is on highest of extreme. I understand. Thank you so much for that. If possible, if you have already seen also, can you see this again and vote it again? Like which line do you think is a longer one, and which is a, I mean, it's like a wake up call. I mean, it's Sunday afternoon, right? Sometimes we get sleep. So if please give your responses again. So this is the two lines. These are two lines. So
Sir, you need to just share your screen, sir.
Oh my God, I am really sorry.
Sir, there is some mic disturbance at your side, sir. There is some mic disturbances there.
Okay, is it
It is better, sir.
I think it's
It's better.
sorry.
Yeah.
So please see these lines and then answer the survey again. Let's see, we have 37 responses now. We let's get 10 more and then we'll move on. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, I think probably most of you are trying to answer this. I assume. Okay, we will anyway go ahead, and if we will visit this back later. So this is basically a cognitive bias that all human have. So most of the people would think the first line is the longest, and somebody even might think the second is longest. But this particular cognitive bias is called Mueller-Lyer illusion. So where what happens is actually the size of the lines are same. So until we see it the first time, we always have this bias. And the moment we see it, after that, even after 10 years, 20 years, we see the same lines, we'll definitely say these lines are same length. So why I'm saying this, but then when these things happen, and after I mean, some people might, after seeing the image, seeing the answer, might think that I first itself thought that both lines are same. So this particular cognitive bias is called hindsight bias. So in the later part, we think that I already know everything, but even though I did a mistake out of situation, but I know everything. I knew everything. So this is a bias everyone faces in real time. And there are a lot of other cognitive biases which hinders our decision making capabilities. But even these biases have developed over time to protect ourselves from ourselves. But many times that is helping us in a wrong way as well. So how do we overcome all these biases? The only way, or the one of the good old ways many people use to overcome these biases is using a journal, not the accounting journal, but the normal diary writing, people call it, right? So when we keep on writing, okay, I know in 2020 Trump would lose. So how many of you would think that after 2020 elections are over? I know in the finals India will win the game. In the IPL yesterday, Chennai would win the game, RCB would win the game. So we always think after the event happened, we think about that, we already know the outcome of the event. So this hindsight bias can be easily removed by writing down what we think today will happen in the next 1 year. So will India's growth improve? Will it go down? Will the India get as permanent membership in United Nations General Assembly, which our country is trying hard to get now? So these things we can write down here, and even about ourselves. So I can take 10 push-ups daily, or something like, I can finish 2 essays in 1 month, or one day, something like that. So these kind of things, we first mention our abilities, or what we do daily. I daily say thanks to my mother when eating food, or something like that. So when we do this journal, and when we return and back after like couple of months, years, days, so we can know that what exactly has happened. A similar journal for business is ERP. So we enter everything in the system, from who are the customers who are coming in, who are the suppliers we are dealing with, who are the banks, how many transactions have happened. See, if you see, small companies are okay, but big companies like textile industry, in other, where the goods are moving at a very faster rate, and the price of the goods are also comparatively higher. So when these kind of things, even people are using UPI now, so many transactions are happening, how everything can be collected, and they have to do all these reports, right? The GST, the government is keep on seeing everything. They find if you are missing out one quarter of GST, you'll be penalized in a very higher way. So these things are happening. So everything has to be mentioned very clearly, journaled, specific entry by entry. And for journaling that one transaction happened, we need to have a lot of backend data maintained. For example, to say that one sari is sold today in this location, Chennai Pothis, let's say, in Chennai, both these in particular branch, how much entries has to be maintained in the backend. So Chennai should be created as a plant. Then one particular type of sari, let's say it's a Kanchipuram silk sari. So Kanchipuram silk sari has to be in the system already. And who's the supplier? The supplier's telephone number they get, their name they get, and where it was produced. The sari has to be produced, whether it is in-house or it was outsourced. So all these items has to be journaled, and that channeling will help the company in many different ways to make the right decisions and go in the path of profit. So that we'll see over the course of this presentation. So for that, ERP is helping, and we have different modules in ERP. So purchasing is there, sales is there, finance, production, and all the companies do not need all of these modules. For example, a service-based company like a hospitality industry, you see that hotels and all, they don't need much about production, how production is happening. So similarly, a production company will not need a different module. So every companies need their own specific modules. So most of the ERP software platform providers, what they do, they give industry specific modules as well. For example, if you see deep drilling in offshore and onshore, so the drilling and all, they need lot of safety measures. So there are specific modules which takes care of environmental safety provided by different service providers of ERP. So yeah, let's see the tool or the products that are available in the market. So SAP is the top notch. A lot of all the Fortune 500 companies, they are running in SAP, and Oracle is another good company. Zoho and M365, they are new entrants in the market, but even their products are very comprehensive. End-to-end is provided. Zoho, you might be aware, it is created by Indian only, and Microsoft is again that's Microsoft's product, M365. So they also give end-to-end, including Microsoft also has an OS, normal Windows, but Zoho, they give an OS ERP. So once you open, there won't be anything else mostly related to business, that specific business. For example, I'm an employee of a particular company, Maruti Suzuki, so that company is stuff only will be there inside the Zoho. And then Udo is a recent entrant who has what you call smaller, not an end-to-end functionalities, but to some extent yes. And then ERP next is a free and open source software where people can download it for free and use it for free. So this is also an extensively, and it is a growing product, and this is going to, I mean, I personally feel this is going to change the paradigm of ERP softwares in the coming future, next 5 to 10 years. And then there are tools that are connected which do not have the core ERP but affiliated with the core that can be useful in different way. And not many big companies, let's say a company MSME which is running with 1 crore turnover per year, they do not need the extensive SAP. The cost of the SAP and the usability is also very high, which may not be needed for a small company. So but those people also can use these softwares. For example, Tally and Oracle Finance are used for finance. For simply put, they can be used for filing GST, maintaining journals, and all. And then Salesforce is a tool specific to CRM, customer relationship management. And you have Ariba, SAP's product, and this can be used standalone for supplier relationship management. And we have PeopleSoft, which is useful in HR, maintaining the hours maintained by the people, the hierarchies of HR. Those things can be maintained in PeopleSoft. And again, now coming to the management in a company, in a typical commerce background person, if you are joining in a company, very likely you might be joining as an account clerk and accounts payable person. And then the management moves up, account manager, financial accountant, management accountant, and then the CFO. So most of the decisions taken by ERP are done in this mid-range, in the 2, 3, 4 from the top range. So they take a lot of business decision. Most of the accounts payable and accounts clerk, they generate the data which can be visualized by these people and take a call on that. Whether we should use UPI in our process, what are the payment terms we need to use in our company, what are the Incoterms that we can use, that we can offer our customers as well as suppliers. So these decisions can be made by these people, and the CFO will very likely decide which is the right ERP for his company, the advantages and disadvantages of whether to have one or not. So these kind of bigger decisions are made at the high level, whereas most of the the ERP is used in different level for different people. So the bottom of the pyramid, so these people they can there's an inventory pyramid. So these people can use it to understand it and use it extensively to generate the data of what is happening, every transaction, noting down the transaction, what is the usability and the convenience of using any particular ERP. And the mid level will find and understand what is the data that is deriving from the information, and the top level will decide which one to be used, which one we need to use. So there are different aspects in which ERP is helping these people. Number one is single source of truth, and then that gives the only true. Yeah, please, somebody's saying something.
No, yeah, nothing, sir. You can proceed.
Okay, all right. So single source of truth basically is we do not have different entries in different books. So traditionally, when we say Excel, I might and let's say there are 5 branch offices and one head corporate office. They collaborate data in 5 Excels. Now the Excel also has come in cloud from Microsoft as well as Google Sheets. But earlier, let's say we are maintaining it in offline and we are sending it. So we might make another entry after the file is sent to the head office. So there might be different sources. So people generally do not know which is the right source of truth. So that can be helped in ERP because the journal entry is getting hit every moment from every place and stored in only one place. That is centrally. And then real-time data. And then analytics, and then workflow automation, and then how to use the knowledge base of all the resources. So let's go one by one. So single source of truth is mainly used for creating the statutory reports, operational reports. So this is basically how we file the taxes to the government, and then how we decide among ourselves what is the right KPIs for right divisions. So if you see inside the company, there will be always fights between the divisions. The PP team would say, production team would always say, I'm not getting the material on time, and the supplier side would say, as in the material management team. So what they do is they might say, we are not getting the invoice paid for the supplier, so they are not sending. So the problem is with the accounts payable team. The accounts payable team might have a different issue. So these kind of things are when handled in an offline mode, maybe okay to operate in a very minimal environment. But as the company grows into big 2 branches, 3 branches, so we might need some centralized place where everything is available for everyone at the same time. It is not that somebody has to wait. So some people say, I'll send the file by end of day, and they assume that the end of day does not happen until the next day, opening time of office. So these kind of things can be reduced, and the performance of the company, the optimization happens at a very specific level. Due to the single source of truth functionality that is there in the ERPs. And then engineering details. Let's say there are companies where make to order stuff is there. So if you want a Ferrari, you cannot get it, go to the shop and then take the key and come. So you have to order it. You need to give the specific details. I need the car seat to be this way, the power to be this way. So everything we need to give. And similarly, there are equipments. Let's say there is a bridge is being built, or there is a tunnel is being made for a metro. So these cases, what happens? The exact specific things has to be informed to the production company, which might be in a different country, maybe a Western European country. So the details has to go from here, and then the things has to be made there and come. This whole process would take millions of rupees, and then so much of time. If we don't have a single source of truth and 2-3 engineers who are collaborating, they are giving different tools or different numbers at the end of the day. So that will be a huge loss to the enterprise. In this case, the government. So same way things happen for enterprise as well. For example, BHEL is one of the biggest producers of heavy electricals in the country. So they give out for a lot of private players as well. They produce stuff for a lot of private as well as government players. So after a 6-month period, if there is a small mistake in the design, that will collapse the whole operation. Let's say they are building a big boiler, they are building a submarine, some defense equipment. So these cases, this engineering details is very, very important. So when we have a single source of truth for all these stuff, it makes life easier without any troubles. And now let's go to the real-time data stuff. So if you see, there are, I'm giving 2 cases of companies, actual companies in India who are their market leaders. So first case is a company which delivers products 4 times to the end retailer. So end retailer is somebody actually people go and buy from. let's say D-Mart, you might be aware of D-Mart or some big shopping markets, so or even smaller shops. So for that kind of a company, for that kind of a store, the company is delivering 4 times a day. Let's say your Kit Kat or your dairy milk, it gets delivered once in 3 days to the shop. So that's an FMCG company, right? This Cadbury. So they deliver once in 3 days. But this particular company, they want the real-time data from the end retailer. So what they are doing, they are adjusting their production line based on the sales. So every 4 hours they will go and check what is the sales. They will deliver what is required, and the data will go to the back-end system. And the back-end system recalibrates what has to be produced in the next 4 hours. So generally the production time at the factory and where the delivery is happening, it will be hundreds of kilometers apart. Nevertheless, this company, because they are delivering products 4 times a day and they get real-time data every day, 4 times per day is around 6 times a day. 4 times a day is around 6 hours. Once in 6 hours, they deliver the products and they get the real-time data. Based on that, they change their production schedule. So they don't waste any raw materials, they don't waste any inventory time. You might be aware, the more we keep things in inventory, it is a charge for us, right? And because they are doing that, the end retailer is ready to take cut in their profit margin, because they also don't keep inventory, because the products are real-time based order and coming. They also do not keep inventory, and that is increasing their top line as well as bottom line. So they are not accepting their competitors. Let's say this company is actually Asian Paints. So then other paint companies are giving a margin of 3 times. Let's say this company is giving a margin of 5 rupees, and the other paint companies are giving a margin of 15 rupees. They still go and take Asian Paints products, because the inventory turnover is the biggest metric or KPI in any business. So this thing the Asian Paints are very clearly understood. They are one of the earliest adopters of ERP in India, like Ashwin ji has mentioned. In 1960 the ERP started. Asian Paints also installed in 1970s. The ERP, SAP specifically, and then now they are the market leader. And so many paint advertisements you would have been seeing. Still, if you go to any of your neighbors' house, relatives' house, your house, the paint would be from Asian Paints only, most of the cases. And their market share is also too huge. The next competitor is only 30% down from them, even though the market is very generic and the product has no specific. See, there is a difference between dairy milk chocolate and Kit Kat, right? So what is the difference between two paints? I mean, technically there may be something, but for a person who's seeing an eye, there won't be a difference. So what makes the difference, what makes their profit higher and their market share higher, is the real-time data they are collecting and using it, and implementing it in their production. And now let's go to the second case. So there is a model called just-in-time. So what happens, this company, they don't keep any inventory for their raw materials. For all, it's a car manufacturing company. So per car, for every minute, they can produce 2.51 cars, 1.5 cars in the country. Recently, you would have heard about the news that Ford is going out of India. They are removing the production lines in India, one in Chennai and one in some part of North India. So they are removing it. They are closing. They are shutting them down and then going. So if you are not competent in real time like this particular company, it would be really difficult to be in the business, because the current market trend is such that the winner takes it all market. This is a winner takes it all market. So we all use Google for search engine, right? So what is the next thing that we use for search engine other than Google? I mean, we don't know. There is only one player. There is no competition. And then let's see YouTube. So what is the other video streaming we use? Maybe sometimes Facebook, but mostly even Facebook cannot even stand in front of YouTube, right? So again, mail, Gmail, there used to be a lot of mails, Rediff mail, Yahoo mail and all, but Gmail has taken over completely. And even Flipkart or Amazon, so that is also going a neck-to-neck fight. But there used to be a lot of players in the last 5 years to 8 years time frame, if you remember. There used to be a lot of players. Either they were all acquired into these two companies, or they vanished. So in this kind of market, the real-time data is the most useful, and probably you would have heard it somewhere in memes and all, that data is new oil and such stuff. And yes, we have in the last 3 to 5 years, we have generated so much data that we have not generated from the starting of mankind. So how many people have got how many items, the credit card statements, the transactions that are being stored, the data is available for use. So that data, what we have generated in the last 3 years, is not there in the last 3,000 years. So that is available for us. And now, when we talk about the data, we come to this analytics part. So how do we take all this analytics and what do we do with that? We have so much of data now. So we have that millions and millions of GB tons of data. And what do we do with that? So companies bring in a lot of, see, the data is good, but if you need to do analytics, your assumptions and the cause and effect, they call it, right? So that should be right. Only if you get the correct that correlation, you'll be able to make meaningful business decision. So this is one case study, and this beer and diapers case study. So what happened? Walmart, you might have heard about it. Walmart, it's like our D-Mart in the US. So what they noticed is every weekend, Friday evening, Friday afternoon, a lot of beers and diapers both were getting sold at the same time. So what's happening is the young fathers, let's say 25 to 40 years old, that fathers, they want to chill out in the weekend, so they were buying beer, and they were also being, because they are recent fathers, they are buying a lot of diapers as well. So the company understood this data. I think in the early 90s this happened, and what Walmart did is they put together the beer and diapers together in the supermarket. In India, they don't sell alcoholic beverages in supermarkets, but in the US they did that. They closed it, and the beer sales skyrocketed. Similarly, if you see, I mean, in movies also they have been showing all these stuff recently, like what product should be kept first, what should be kept at last. So these stuff are kind of analytics that has been happening in the previous last 20 to 30 years. But what is going to be happening in the next 5 to 10 years is going to make the last 20 years look very, very small. Why? Because now the data generation is high. And many of you would have noticed that what we talk with our family and friends, next day you get that YouTube videos similar, Amazon recommendations you get similar to that. So these are all kind of, we give our permission to record our voice by these apps, and what they do is they churn it. I mean, they don't know who we are actually. They don't know the item by person. But whenever they get the keywords, they push in the advertisements so that they can grow. So if you know this, Google and Facebook, they are basically advertisement companies. So they do a lot of advertisement in different areas. Even if you see, there was during 2016 US elections, there was a big allegations that there was a company called Boston Consultancy Group. I remember, if I'm not wrong. So they, along with they collaborated with Facebook, and they tried to change the opinions of the people. So when you control this advertising platforms where people are going there so much, you can control what they want to eat, what they want to, where they want to sleep, whom they want to elect. So all these things can be done by these companies. But even we don't have to go that far. But what we can do is we can understand meaningful insights from this analytics, and with that, it will help us grow our business. And even personally, we can understand a lot of things about ourselves as well as the fast changing world around us. And now we'll see, even in Amazon, if you would have noticed that even you buy something, it checks what the lot of hundreds of other people who have bought. Let's say I'm buying a new phone, so they would suggest, along with this phone, a lot of people have bought this screen guard, this case, this headphones. So these kind of recommendations they give based on the analytics. And none of these people, they know us by our name. We are all data points, and I mean, there is nothing to worry about or fear about that. This is what is happening. So it is better we adapt ourselves to this new environment and grow along with it. Now let's go to the workflows automation analysis. So this is happening pretty fast. In the last 10 years, things related to these also has changed a lot. Let's say we are working in industry, and I'm going to specifically give an example about this purchasing process. They call it procurement to pay process. So first, the end user will request something in a company. Let's say we are all working in a college, and let's say I'm a lab assistant. So what I do, I want new computers for my lab, or 100 keyboards I need. All keyboards have been damaged, so I need 100 keyboards. So what I do, I place a requisition. I give it to my head of the department. So that requisition is called a purchase requisition. So today it can be all done via mobile also, but some company they still follow the old school rule. They take a form, they fill it, what are the items I need, how much quantity, what is the price, can you approve it? And that person will get the approval from probably the HOD, head of the department, and then it goes to the purchasing team. So every college there might be a administrative person or a purchasing team which buys everything for the college. I mean, all the requirement for different branches or different departments. So that again goes to their own head of the. They might also have an administrative head. So that gets approval from there, and then the GR happens. So GR is basically what, when the lab assistant, when I receive the keyboards, I check for the quality, I check for the correct supplier, I check for the price. So and then I say, yeah, okay, these are all good, and I post it in the system. And then the accounts team in the college, what they do, they check whether the PO is right, the PO and the GR number, both of them are right, the quantity, and then the price mentioned in the PO and the price, the invoice the supplier has given, whether these two are same, and then he posts it. He might be an accounts clerk or accounts payable clerk. And then the payment processing will be happening by the finance team, which checks all the invoices that are cleared here, and those cleared invoices they will pay. So now where does ERP come into picture here? So all these things can be automated, or maybe one-click items. Some things cannot be like the once the PR is created, that PR has to manually given to this purchasing team. Whereas in system, when we have configured everything, the only thing is I need to raise a PR. There will be a screen where I need to enter the stuff, and then I press enter. So next day morning, my HOD might receive a PR from different people of different labs, and he will check everything, and maybe from some teachers, some students, everything. So he'll check everything, he'll approve them in one click, and then the automation will go. It will automatically send mails to the purchasing department that see the system, open the system, there are 3 PRs coming from the commerce department. And the procurement guy, what will he do? He say, okay, these things I can procure inside the country, some things I cannot procure inside the country. So for that I might need double approval. So he will create a purchase order in the system, and he will send for double approval. So one to the purchasing team, and then maybe one to the finance head it may go, or the principal of the college it may go. So that decision, how many levels of approvals has to be there for how much price. Let's say the price is until 10,000, only the HOD or the purchasing team can approve. But if the price is above 1 lakh, let's say, then the principal might have to approve. So it goes to the that automatically it will find out who is the right approver, and then it will go. The mail will trigger to them, and they can either approve from the mail, or they can log into the system and then approve. So these kind of processes basically automation and alerts, and the whole process of approval, setting up the approval on depending upon different factors. So the purchase requisition created for commerce team should not go to an computer science team HOD, right? So those setting up in the system, these things are called workflows. And when the mails are triggered automatically, and that is automation, and sometimes a low value purchase of, let's say 100 rupees, 200 rupees, that may be automatically approved. So these things are another framework, or you can say skeleton of how the ERP works. And now let's come to the knowledge base. So if you see across the globe now, a lot of noise is gaining for, a lot of sound is gaining for diversity. When you say diversity, if you see in the Google, in the Silicon Valley offices of Google, Apple and all those stuff, so what they do, they recruit people from all over the world, Vietnam people, Japan, China, India, a lot of Indians are there, you might be aware, and then even from Africa a lot of people are coming, Eastern Europe a lot of people are coming. Those areas already filled with North American and Western Europe people. So they are bringing a lot of these people so that they can identify the problem and of the other regions. See, because Google is there everywhere in the world, every nook and corner. However, if the employees are from one particular region, demography, they might not think in different ways. They don't know the problem what an Indian face in India. Now if you see, we have an option called UPI, United Payment Interface, where you have this Phone Pay, Google Pay, Paytm and all. So this kind of payment functionalities are not there in the West, especially in the US. Probably they don't know that they need to change. Whenever we understood the requirement. So the requirement of every country is different on different levels. So this can be brought in to understand the problem faced by Indians first, and they need to understand what can be the solution that is working. They have 10 solutions, all 10 may not work for us. So in these cases, the social collaboration helps to the company to get a lot of appropriate direction, their strategy, short-term tactics, the long-term strategy of how they take business to the next level can be taken. And internal collaboration. So what happens? We'll have tools. The ERP system will have a tool so that the problem faced in one nook of the company, let's say the one problem is happening in India and something is happening in South America, Brazil. So maybe it's same. So they may be same, but if every time we are reinventing the wheel, every time it may take 4 or 5 man days, and that much time of the resource will be wasted. So for that we have internal collaboration. And the same companies, companies in the same industry, let's say that we have 4 or 5 petroleum players in India, HPCL, BPCL, so these kind of reliance. So when these players are collaborating for the sake of getting the best possible solution for their technological and non-technical problems, maybe some problems are non-core problems, so those cases they can use each other's expertise and they can grow. So this is another way how ERP can help us. I think that's it from my end. You can start.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for your presentation, sir. You have taken us on the practical aspects of what is required to be done and what are the very key important ERPs that are available, what are the support systems that are available. Like morning when we had a discussion, you were mentioning about the open source ERP which is available, so which can be used for training our students. Because like the normal ERP, maybe SAP or the Oracle is bit costlier. Maybe students will have to self-finance on their own to study these courses. So you were explaining me a syllabus on the course what you teach to the students. So I think I would be very happy if you could share the about the course, what you teach, so that we can implement in our own curriculum and train our students.
That is a very pertinent question. Why? Because the problem with this ERPs is traditional ERPs like Oracle or SAPs, they are very costly. And until you go into the industry, you do not get a glimpse of what it is. And also, even if you want to go and study for a particular certificate course to clear one certification, it might be at least 1 lakh to even several lakhs people have spent on doing that. Whereas now, new age, this Voodoo and especially this ERP next Voodoo is not that much.
Sir, could you just zoom little?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, sir.
My screen.
Here's the down you have got towards your right, you have got above the time. Yeah.
So this is the basic framework which can be used for students. I mean, is it visible now?
Yes, sir. It's visible, very clear, sir.
Okay. So this is the framework students can study with ERP Next. So ERP Next is basically, we can download it by ourselves, we can install it. There are certain small difficulties there. We need to check the Google and all, and even people who do not have any kind of coding experience can use this, can download this. For training purposes, it is 100% free. You can take it, you can download, and then you can go through the what you can say. I can show you how I do it. That also I'll show right now. Just a moment. I use a virtual machine. So I mean, whatever I'm talking now, it's technical. Even if you don't understand, please ignore. But try to understand the crux of it. So this is a virtual machine. So we can install ERP Next inside the virtual machine. We can run it. So I'd be happy to explain about these also, but in the interest of time, currently I will go through the main part, and sticking to the topic, we'll not go to that, right? Okay, I think it is.
Yes, sir. It's visible now.
Okay.
Sir, good afternoon, sir. Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Yes.
Madam.
Sir, tell about the sources of employability in ERP, sir.
No, good question. That is a good question. First, let us take questions and then I'll show you them. ERP itself cannot give that big of an employment because the every industry that has a surge and then a downfall and or sometimes after a surge it will stay afloat. It will not give you the best of the package, but still you will have a lot of jobs there. So like Ashwin sir initially mentioned, the accounting industry is such one. You might have a job, but you will not go to the peak with that accounting job. So you need to have more in that. So similarly, but going forward, accounting is a basic thing. Everyone should know accounting. Similarly, any kind of industry you go, let's say you go to banking industry, insurance, then investment. So all this industry, you need a minimum understanding of ERP. Without that, you will have, with that you have a good advantage was yesterday's case, but today's case is without the understanding of ERP, you will feel very difficult to swim in that big sea of corporate enterprises that we are going in the next few years, next 5 to 10 years. So everyone should understand what is ERP, what is the framework, and where are we in that framework. We might be in the topmost or bottommost Excel cell, but still only when we know where we are, we can grow higher in the hierarchy. Not just in terms of position, but also in terms of knowledge in that particular industry. So and if you understand the whole of ERP and you want to do implementation or you want to work as a ERP consultant, that scope is still there, but that is a very in-depth item. You have to spend more time on that. The students has to spend at least 6 months on that to get the full grasp of it, and plus industrial understanding, how that particular industry is working. So these things are important for that. But nevertheless, with minimum training of let's say 1 or 2 months, when people self-interest, out of self-interest, if they are doing, they can come to in such a state that they can easily swim in the ocean of current industry practices. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please, sir. You have raised your hand.
Yes, sir.
Okay, nice.
Thank you,
As
sir.
I was referring to the rapid changes in the environment. Take for example, earlier when railway tracks were being set, were installed, lot of manpower were involved. Correct?
Very
Now,
good.
do we require that? Look at the highways. Earlier, for creating highway, say 1 kilometer, we were requiring X number of persons. Now, do we need that? So here what happens with the help of the technology are reducing the manpower, but the right kind of manpower is definitely used and the person will get a higher salary. Okay, so I think whether we love the answer or not, this is the reality, their reality. Correct?
Exactly, and we are at a juncture in our country where we are seeing next 10 years double-digit GDP growth, which needs we have a resource crunch, and also we have an unemployability at the same time. So since people are not completely aware of what is happening and not trained and skilled for the current environment, there is a huge unemployment problem. And at the same time, companies want to grow, new enterprises are being set up, and a lot of foreign investments are coming inside the country, which needs more people. So this gap can be bridged with the help of more people understanding technologies like ERP, data science, and other technologies. And one thing people should forget now is any college degree, let's say commerce, science, biology, botany, zoology, anything, technology is a must. Understanding of, if not coding, at least algorithmic thoughts are very, very important. Even though you are not at all related to finance, you are in finance and you do not have any relation to core IT technologies, still a little bit of understanding of how algorithms work, how that is done, will take you 2 to 3 steps level than your current level. Then what we can achieve in 1 year, you can achieve in 3 months. So this understanding should be there for the students, and this is not an optional thing anymore.
Sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please.
Yes, sir. Am I audible to you, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you for a nice explanation, sir. Actually, you said about how ERP works, right? How
Correct.
ERP works. and the center alphabet is very important resource. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so India was resourceful. Okay, WAS I am talking about past tense.
Uh-huh.
India was resourceful. India is not resourceful at all right now. So doing different thing is what our recommendation to the students past, and now we are asking the students to do the things differently, which means you have to recycle the things, all the things, and you have to make the art from the waste. So how ERP works is okay. How ERP can be work reserve? Actually, can we have this future? What we can do with the scrap and the wastages? Can you tell about this gray area, sir?
I'm sorry, I did not understand the question.
Yes, sir. Ram Gopal, sir, I can answer this question. Sir, like you were mentioning about the integration of the other areas. Now, for example, an exception area is where you get wealth from waste.
Uh-huh.
Yes, sir.
Am I correct?
You want to, okay, got it. So here,
Thank you, Abhi, sir.
Yeah.
how do I say this? I mean, I personally feel India is still very much resourceful. Yeah, we have a lot of people have removed our wealth. That I agree with you. However, we still have a lot of resources. And if you see the average age of countries like Japan, Eastern Europe, and other developed nations, we are very young young population. We have very young population, and those many people. I mean, why do we say age whenever we say about development and resources? People are working and people are paying tax for the government. Only with that tax we can get roads, railways, or any other infrastructure. And with infrastructure and good environment, a lot of people want to set companies. Let's say my income tax is 97%. I don't want to set a company here. I would rather go out of the country. However, if the environment is good and if the infrastructure is good, if I want to move my goods from one port to another, let's say I'm manufacturing in Bangalore, I need to come to Chennai. So for that should be an 8-lane road or 4-lane road, whatever it is. So that infrastructure should be there. So only when these things are in place, the business environment will be growing. So for these things, we need tax, and for tax, we need more people to work. And not just tax purposes or financial perspective. Only when more people are there, more smart decisions will come out. More people will come and fight for entrepreneurial spirit, and only those things happen. And we basically are a nation of entrepreneurial spirit. Nobody can remove that from us and take it away. Immaterial of whatever resources they have taken away from us, that they cannot be taken away. Now coming to the second part of the question. Regarding this wealth from the waste, so this might be an industry specific module, and this is a long way to go at this point of time, because they say we can take a lot of fossil fuel, instead of using fossil fuels we can take energy from the waste, and that resources are not there. How do I say this? Say whatever we are doing right now with the United Payment Interface, right? That is one of the nascent technologies which we have developed in India, which could have been there in 2010 itself. Let's say early 2010, 10, 11, 12 and all. Even that time this could have been there. But the environment was not conducive for that business to be profitable. Only when a business is going to be profitable, more and more people are going to come into the space. There are NGOs and some people are doing for the noble reasons. But if businesses has to come, only then the business it will reach the end citizen. For example, only when Jio came into the picture, the last person in India has also got internet. So this is not true even in case of America. Even though they have the best networks in the world, even though they have Google and Facebook, which are laying internet lines between the oceans, still they are not able to take the internet at such a cheap price. Without internet connectivity, lot of knowledge transfer is not happening. Right now, the students can attend from a remote corner in Tuticorin or maybe from Himachal Pradesh. So this is true because the cost of internet has come down drastically. So same way, when waste to wealth is actually giving businesses money. Let's say if I put a methane extraction from waste business, and if I'm going to be profitable, only then that will happen. That is happening in European countries. Some European countries who has energy surplus. So we are still energy deficit country, and we are importing we have huge import bills of petroleum. So if that has to be changed, the technology has to improve worldwide. Only when hydrogen fuel technology or waste to wealth technologies are improving, the tools they use, the chemicals they use, when the prices go down, probably the country will move in the direction. And ERP mostly do not do do not know what is the exact business that we are doing. It is applicable for almost all the businesses with 70 to 80% of case studies. And when it comes to specific businesses, let's say EHS I mentioned, right? Environment, health, and uh, environment, health, and society. So when those things come into picture, they will develop the modules which are specific to waste to wealth. But generic modules can be applied 70 to 80 percentage. And that problems that we face, let's say, I'll take one case study example. I remember there is a dumping yard, and I have visited one dumping yard in a remote place. Okay, so out of the city, like 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers out of the city. So what they do, they put everything, they pack everything. There is a movie called Wall-E, you would have seen. So similar, in that movie, they pack all the garbage and they make it into cubes, and then they keep it. That's all. And they burn it once in a year. So instead, if I can make good money out of it, I will go. So these things here, waste is almost free, right? Almost free, or people are ready to sell it for free. Even there, the plastic, they sell it for recycling use. So that is the raw material for you. Let's say I'm putting a company, that waste will be the raw material for which the cost is almost zero or negligible, very low cost, which I have to maintain as a material. Even though the cost is negligible, I will maintain those stuff in my ERP system. And then there will be a production process similar to whatever car manufacturer is doing, whatever flight manufacturer is doing. Similar to that, there will be a production process from the waste plastic to useful plastic, next step of the plastic. And again, there will be a packaging and then sending it to customer. Probably other plastic manufacturers may be my customer. So I will send it to them. So this core modules, I'll share my screen, this PPT. So this core modules, right? Sales, finance, CRM, purchasing, MRP, this is material requirements planning, like sir mentioned. Then human resource. So these are all going to be same immaterial of whatever the business we are doing. So this will be applicable to the waste to wealth business also. And also apart from that, when a specific need is there, the quality of waste, right? How much of plastic is there in a plastic weight of 100 kg? Let's say 70% is good plastic and 30% has to be recycled, or 30% has to be removed from that, so that we go to the next step of the process. So that is not yet there in any ERP. But this ERP next, which I mentioned about, they are having in-house team to create new modules. We can contact them if you have a specific case study, and they would be happy to support that. Probably that might be for a fee, but still in that direction, when we have a profitable business, we can use that.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Ashwin sir, you have.
Yeah. See, the question is, as I understood, that whether the new ideas, see, very simple, new ideas, they won't be in the ERP systems. Let us understand that ERP is a tool, and it is not a jack of all kind of a thing. It is a very specific business process linked, standardized tool. So for that, yes, it will evolve, but over a period of time. It will depend upon, the evolution will definitely depend upon the margins which are being made available to the entrepreneurs. Now another question about Mr. Hari Balakrishnan, that will it happen in this asset monetization new plan of our Indian Finance Ministry? See, I tell you, let us understand this. If you have got 1,000 rupees, see the monetization plan says that in case of development of certain infrastructure projects, lot of money inputs are required. If the government is allocating say 1 lakh crore for a particular project, and once it takes lot of time also, correct? So instead of that, government is planning, I will go on investing 1 lakh crore in a budget every year or for a given period. But at the same time, with the projects which have already been developed and which is costing for managing the resource, that projects also, there is a cost. Instead of that, the government is giving it to leases to those people who are ready to manage those projects. So through these projects, when they earn out of this or whatever the composite payment is they are getting, they can invest in the projects from the initial stage. So this, I put it this way, it is not that the government is selling everything, but instead of managing the current assets, they are trying to give it to manage it to somebody and increasing the wealth of the society or nation. This is what I would say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, Ram Gopal sir, you were trying to present your software. I think we need to complete that, sir. So this is your dashboard of the ERP. What you teach, sir? Is it the dashboard? Sir, you're muted.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
So this is the home screen of ERP Next. So here these are the basic modules which every company almost uses. Accounting, every company needs. Selling, human resource, quality not all, but most of the companies need that. So and if we need specific modules for, let's say, hospitals, then for other different kind of oil and gas, so these kind of different businesses, we can include the other modules are also present. Education, the schools and colleges, so we can have other modules as well, but that needs to be downloaded. This is a basic version, so I have not downloaded it.
Okay.
And we can create more. I'll show a couple of tools. So this to do, calendar, note, so all the things that is available in Microsoft, right? Normal Microsoft Office for a fee. Here we have it for free. And again, we can have learning modules here. Users and permissions is basically how who can see, edit specific documents. So there are three kinds of permissions in ERP sense. You can create something. You cannot create, but you can edit. You cannot create and edit, but you can just see. For example, some reports has to be seen only by certain people. So only those people can see it. And some transactions, let's say I create a purchase order, only somebody who's having similar associations to me can create purchase order. I cannot create a purchase order, and I myself cannot do the goods receipt. So then there is a room for frauds, right? So these kind of things can be configured here. And this is integration with other softwares. Let's say you are having a website, or you are having another ERP tool, let's say Tally or something like that. So with that we can integrate this, or you can have mails with which we can integrate. So these are the basic functionalities. So what in this course, what I would like to have the students understand and grasp is basically understand what is the business process first. How things happen. I mean, what we see from outside is very different from what once you start working. Even if it is a small work in a bank or an insurance company or a accounts payable role in a big company, the business process, what we see from book or in the TV is, or in the movies, that's what our source of information these days, right? So it's very different from what is happening in the reality. So first we need to understand how this happens. What are the different kinds in different industries? So first we need to understand that. Then we need to understand what are the different teams and how we can be placed in different teams. Usha Rani madam asked some question similar to this. So how we can be placed in more than one department. So let's say I am basically from a commerce background. Still, I would like to go for sales. I would like to go for projects. So first I need to understand what is happening in there. So that we need to understand in every different departments what is happening. That is a second part. And then the interfaces, authorization, and different types of data. So for basically any company, there will be three types of data. This is very generic framework kind of stuff. So one is enterprise level data. So you do not open a new plant every day, right? So probably in the whole of the 20-30 years, the company will open only 10 to 15 plants, let's say. So that is okay, I forgot the name. I'll get back. And then we have a master data. So we have regular customers onboarded, regular suppliers onboarded on daily basis. But we don't use like 10 to 15 suppliers. Let's say we run a car company. We may add 2 to 3 suppliers per week. So that kind of medium term data is called as master data. And every day we buy stuff, we sell stuff, right? So those data is called transaction data. So similarly, we go in depth of different kinds of data. and what is the right authorization, how to find the authorization for different people, for different level. A CEO do not need to see the purchase requisition created by the employer, the last employer. So similarly, purchase requisition creator and user do not need to record anything other than his own data. Mid-level management might have to see half of the lower level data. So these kind of different data, how the authorization has to be set, whether it should be create, edit, or only view authorization, or none of this authorization should be given for that particular role. So those things has to be understood. And then we have interfaces, how systems talk between each other. Nowadays, that is the most important part. When we put one credit card inside that POS machine, hundreds of systems are talking in the backend. First, the card, which let's say I'm having a HDFC card and I'm using Axis Bank or SBI bank machine. So first, SBI will send a request to HDFC and check if this is okay, if this is if whether I have payment amount in my bank to pay this transaction, and then they find okay. When it is done, there will be an intermediary bank which will facilitate this transaction. So all this happen within fraction of second, or maybe 2 to 3 seconds, and we get the generate the bill. So these interfaces, how they work, I mean, we are not going to that specifics, but we understand how systems talk to each other and transmit the data between one another. For example, how GST, every time we do something, that has to be sent to the government, right? For in case of excise or GST, here now it is GST, right? So those things we need to do. Then these are all very high level, or even if we see in the system, that will be in a theoretical level. But now the second part will be mostly with respect to practical level, practical application. First, we need to set up the system. How, I mean, this is a one way of setting up the system, how we are setting it inside a virtual machine. So this is a real machine. What I'm using the computer right now, it is a real machine. Whereas inside that, I'm having a virtual machine. This does not run in any server, real server. So that is one way of doing it. I can install in a physical hard drive. That is second way. I can do in cloud. Cloud is what? Amazon Cloud, Google Cloud, or currently they are offering cloud services. We can take that service and then we can install the system there, setting up the system there, and then different kind of process in the system. So setting up system is one thing, reading in theory is another thing, and then finally doing it in the system, creating the master data, creating the enterprise data, creating the transaction data. So once we create so much data, we'll have reports to be viewed. So how the different kind of reporting we can do, whether we can schedule reports and automatically go it to somebody's mail. So those things we can check later. And then finally we might have a quiz and grading also might be there. So that also we can have. So this is the kind of course that I have envisioned for college students. This would help them in a getting basic sense plus advanced understanding of what is happening when they are entry into a company. And if I am planning to set up my own business, or maybe joining my father's or my uncle's or my relative's business, this understanding of ERP will help us to map the process into the system, not necessarily ERP next, but into any ERP system. And the ERP's one main understanding, or why companies spend so much money. See, almost I think in lakhs to crores it might take per year license for SAP. So why companies are paying so much? Because they think that return on investment is there, and that is why every company in the world is doing, right? Every big company is doing. So similarly, a return on investment for a small company, let's say my organization, I'm my uncle's organization, they are annual turnover is 3 to 4 crores. So in that, if I implement ERP, that can give us different insights into the business, which can be used. So immaterial of whether I'm going for higher studies or work, or I'm going to set up my own business perspective. So this should be useful for the college student to step up to the next level. So that's what I thought.
Sure, sir. It was very nice because we have been hearing about the ERPs, which are very costly. It ranges somewhere from 5 lakhs to 6 lakhs. Maybe there
the industry is now plumb for disruption. Okay. ERP industry is now ready for disruption, and means ERP next is already in the forefront of this particular revolution, I would say.
Okay. Yes, sir. It was a great learning experience for all of us. It's now time for the formal vote of thanks. I now request Dr.
I would like to thank Mrs. Pratibha George, Arulmani, yourself, Rakesh sir.
Thank you.
And Sri Ashwinji, and then Sri Andavan Arts and Science College, DG Vaishnav College, and the Cost Accountants and Institute. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I thank for all the people who have joined on the Sunday afternoon. Thank you
Yes,
so
sir.
much.
Thank you, sir. Over to Dr. Shivakumar for the formal vote of thanks.
Sir, good afternoon, sir. My voice is audible, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very good afternoon to all. Gratitude is a quality similar to electricity. It must be produced and discharged and used up in order to exist at all levels. I am very humble and honored to be the one making the closing remarks and giving the vote of thanks in such a distinguished and intellectually stimulating gathering. I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to our honorable keynote speaker, CMA Aswin Kumarji Alwadi, Council Member, the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, Chairman, Information Technology Committee, for his valuable contribution to this program. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I extend my gratitude to our respected resource person, Sri Ram Gopal Surya Narayanan, ERP consultant and trainer, Bengaluru, for making an excellent presentation and making this program a very meaningful and interesting. Thank you so much, sir. I wholeheartedly
Thank you, sir.
thank respected President ICAI, our beloved management people, principals, vice principals, HODs, staff members, participants, students, and last but not least, our beloved organizing team for making this program as a grand success. Once again, I thank one and all present here virtually. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir, for giving this nice opportunity to me.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, participants, for joining us on a weekend, that too on a Sunday. It was a knowledge-enriching experience. We will meet tomorrow at 3 p.m. on the same YouTube channel for the GST revolutionary change and the recent updates. We will have CMA Sarana Prabhu, who is a GST trainer and an expert in the domain. Please stay tuned with us. Thank you so much.